Hi everyone, welcome to an exciting series where we'll cover the life cycle on building an Alexa skill. I recommend watching the videos for each step and then applying the hands-on exercises in the videos before moving on to the next video in the sequence. You'll have the best practices by the end of this series with an engaging Alexa skill in store. You can also connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and I'd love to hear your feedback on these videos. Okay, let's begin. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Ozzy, I'm Alexa Developer Evangelist, and we have Steve here.
Hello, I'm a solutions architect in Sydney as well.
So if you haven't watched our previous episodes, we already talked about how to think about what to build for Alexa, what fits with voice nicely. And then after that, we just designed the whole conversation. What we are going to cover today is some live coding. We are going to build what we designed in the previous step. So we came up with a skill which is called vacation countdown. We say open the vacation countdown. The goal of this skill to excite you from an upcoming vacation. Vacation by itself is exciting, but we want to just build at top of it. So the skill needs to know when was your vacation date. So if this is the first time you're interacting with the skill, it's going to say hello and say when is your vacation. And on the right hand side, you can see this question mark, so we know we have like devices with a screen, so we can decide what screen is relevant when we provide this messaging.
Best thing about this is that you can act it out as well.
Exactly.
This whole thing's made to really road test on people who maybe have never used Alexa before even, or just want to get a sense of what a design is like. One person can be Alexa and the other person can talk to the fake Alexa as in the other person, and you get a really good sense of design before even coding anything. Exactly.
And that's where you want to get the most feedback, because if you invest lots of time to build it, you usually become biased, and it's hard for you to change as well. So the skill would ask, when is your vacation? You provide it with a date. It can be like November 5th, and the skill will just confirm it back, like 5th of November, to make sure that it got it right. And then we'll say, I'll remember that. See you next time, alligator. So something fun. So we want to make it as much fun as possible. So when we are building this skill, we start with one phrase, and we use SML and so many other things to make it more fun. If you're opening the vacation countdown, this time it knows the date already, so it comes back and says, welcome back, 20 days until your vacation. If you open the vacation countdown this time, if it is the vacation day, it can say, woohoo, today is vacation day.
Yep,
so
gets excited.
Yeah, to get exciting. So as you can see, we are saying the same phrase 3 times, but based on the situation, it's providing different answers.
Ideally, you'd end up with a whole bunch of these cards to handle different scenarios, different sort of happy paths, but also unhappy paths.
Exactly.
So when things go wrong, if I was to say banana to the skill, if it asked me when my vacation was, you actually need to handle that, and that would constitute its own card. The idea is we're thinking about all the kinds of ways users will say things, and in situational design, which is this Adobe, we're implementing it in Adobe XD.
Exactly.
This is a way of explaining those situations to a developer who will eventually pick up these cards and say, okay, let's turn this into code.
I think it's more fun if we now take this and start building it.
Right, so let's implement these little situational cards here. And I'm not sure if you've pointed it out in this workshop yet, but the way Alexa code, the way it's structured in the SDK is that there's a pair of can handle and handle. There's 2 standard functions as part of anything that Alexa can handle. And it just so happens that everything above this line is really implementable in code as can handle, and everything below the line is the way you actually handle. This will become clear once I start showing code.
Exactly.
So we want to get into it?
Yep, let's do it.
Cool. All right, let's start.
And to be able to start coding, you need to have a developer account, and optionally you can have like AWS account.
Alexa can host your skill for you, but there are limitations, and because we're master builders, we're actually going to stream past that and do our own Lambda hosting and get the whole thing.
Cool.
All right, so first requirement is Amazon developer. account. This is separate from AWS. It's a completely separate service. And it's a completely separate portal. And what it does is it's going to handle the speech recognition side, and then AWS and Lambda, in our case, is going to handle the skill code. So any API calls, any logic, that kind of thing, any response.
Exactly.
All right, so let's log into the Amazon Developer Console. Everything here is free, by the way, on Amazon Developer. Okay. So I go to the Alexa Skills Kit. Oh, it's going to make me log in again.
Yep.
Okay, we're up to create skill.
Yep.
So I get this dashboard. I've got no skills at the moment in this particular account, and I'm just going to make sure it's the right account. Yep. Create a skill. All right, you get all these options. The first thing before I go through that, the first thing I know is that I want to call my skill vacation countdown. Because if we refer to our design, that's the invocation name, and I think that should be the skill name as well. It's pretty descriptive.
Yep.
We're Australians, so let's choose English AU.
Yeah. So this kind of dictates where the skill goes when we publish it. So, and it's possible to just have one skill and we just publish it for different marketplaces.
So this box is really just to start you off. It's not going to restrict you to Australian language or Australia in any way.
Yep.
But let's select Australia because that's where we are. Okay, custom. It's a custom skill. Most of the time when we talk about skills here, we mean custom skills as opposed to the flash briefing, news, or smart home kind of skills.
Yep.
So choose that, and then we're actually going to go ahead and provision our own instead of host it. And we covered why earlier. Just more control, really. Okay, another set of options. What do we do? Do we start from scratch? And we'll create fact skill. It doesn't matter so much, but the reason I like choosing one of the templates is it just actually gives you a little bit more to work with from the get-go. Yep. Starting from scratch, for me, assumes that you know a little bit about how to put intents and slots together, and so you have to literally start mentally from scratch. So I'm going to choose fact skill.
Okay.
And that way I get a working little template skill out of the box, and I'm just going to go modify it.
Yeah. So starting from a template, and then we go and modify it based on what we want the skill to do. Yep.
Right.
Let's do that.
Whoops. So I accidentally clicked on that. So I get, fact skill. Let's choose that again. Fantastic. This is the build part of the developer portal. Everything to do with your speech recognition model is here, plus some other stuff. The first thing I'm going to do actually is show you that this is a working skill out of the box. So if I hit the test menu here, and I'll just open it in a new tab, I'm just going to type things in. I won't worry about the microphone because I'm busy talking. I'll select the development version of the skill. It's the only one that exists.
We're getting an error.
Well, an interaction model. Okay. Well, I lied. Let me, all right, what I'm going to do then is, it seems it's not a working skill out of the box, today anyway. What I'm going to do is name vacation countdown as my invocation name.
Yep.
I'm going to save the model, and I'm going to build the model. And there's already an endpoint in there, I know that, because they give you a default endpoint.
Yep.
So I'm just going to use that and then show you what happens.
Yep.
Hopefully building the model works.
We are waiting for it to build.
Right. Builds often take between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, and what it's doing is basically the machine learning component.
Yep.
That'll be more clear once we start putting it together. Okay, let's see how we fare now. Turn allow. Development. Okay, it looks like all I had to do was build that model.
Yep.
So if I open vacation plan, countdown.
Countdown.
All right. And I should get a response.
Launch request.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I guess that's all I have in there.
Yep. So we are at the test tab. Like here is how easy you can test your skill. You don't have to own a device. So when you are start interacting with it, it provides all of this messaging. On the right hand side, you can see this JSON input and output. That means when you say open vacation countdown, it just translates it to this and send it to the Alexa backend. So if you scroll further down into JSON input, we can see lots of information about this skill. And what we can see here is that now we have a request with the type of launch request. This is how it knows. We can tell if the mapping worked well. And on the right hand side is based on our skill, it just provides a messaging. Here it's just saying launch request. So this is what we get out of the box using the template. And that was a nice start.
I wonder if it gives me a fact. Let's find out. Give me a fact, because that's what it's supposed to be set up for. Let's see if it does anything.
Yep.
Intent. Get new fact intent.
Yeah.
Locale. NAU.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's giving us little, not actually cool little debug stuff.
Yeah.
It told me essentially, Alexa responded telling me that get new fact intent was the intent that was triggered. We'll see that in a second. And then the locale is ENAU.
Exactly.
Time to go back to build.
Yeah. So now we can get to build. So the way it was working, on the left hand side you can see an intent. So it created a get new fact intent on the left hand side. If you look at it, these are all of the utterances. So the utterances is whatever phrase I choose to say to show that intention. So you can say, oh, that's a lot. So you can say a fact, a space fact, tell me a fact. So people need to do a good job here to just predict how people naturally speak and ask for that intention.
We'll get into that once we start actually implementing our own skill.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
We'll go into detail there. But before anyone's wondering, it's not exact. So if I was to say a space fact, please, in all likelihood, it would just work, even though the word please is there. The idea is that you're supposed to get run the range of all things somebody might say, but it mustn't be exactly that thing.
Yeah.
The sort of machine learned or AI part of Alexa will figure out that you want a fact on its own in all likelihood.
Cool.
Okay, so I've got the invocation name has changed to vacation countdown, which is what we want. The next thing we're going to do is have a look at this part, which is the endpoint. In my mind, the two key components of an Alexa skill are the speech recognition model, which is essentially everything in this part of the portal. The new fact intent, for example. That's everything you want Alexa to expect to hear in your skill. And then the other component is the endpoint. And the endpoint is the skill code that runs.
Exactly.
At the moment, the reason why we were getting little debug skeleton sort of responses, this is an intent, the locale is ENAU from our simulator, from our test simulator, is because they, by default, we put in a Lambda function that just does that. It just gives you back what you asked for, what intent you asked for. We obviously need to go and replace that with a real deal Alexa skill function.
Exactly, yeah.
And to do that, I'm actually going to go to AWS.
Yeah. So here we are going to start writing our backend code logic using Lambda.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, here we are. All right, so Lambda, I don't believe I have any functions in there.
Yeah.
Something to pay attention to if you're doing this yourself is the region it's in.
Yeah. So it only works for, if you want an Alexa to trigger your Lambda function, you need to host it in North Virginia, Oregon, Ireland, or Tokyo.
So for example, there's a Sydney region for AWS, and you can create Lambda functions in the Sydney region, but you cannot add the Alexa trigger.
Exactly.
So that precludes you from actually running Alexa skills in Sydney, even though I live in Sydney.
Exactly.
So the documentation covers where the Alexa skills are supported through Lambda, and you should look at that. But the closest thing, networking-wise, the actual closest route from Australia is Oregon.
Yep.
It's right next to where the speech recognition stack is for Alexa for Australia, oddly enough. So let's make sure that we're in Oregon, and I'm going to hit create a function.
Yeah, let's do that. So there are choices here again.
Yep.
Like we can start from scratch, we can use a blueprint, or we can use a serverless app repo. And starting from scratch is definitely an option, but what we are going to cover today is using Node.js SDK version 2. So that you can use different languages, but I highly recommend to use the SDKs because SDKs make our life much easier. So if I'm starting from the scratch, I have to do all of those setups manually on my own. So That's my preference. I usually start from a template, everything is set up nicely, and then I go and
too.
edit.
Yeah. I like to, when I'm starting skills, I like to get to a runnable, meaningful skill as fast as possible. And fortunately, the serverless app repository is the best way to do that, in my opinion. So you get a list of pre-made templates here to build. The one you want is actually the first one that returns, for me at least, but you can search for it here in the search, and you'll know it's the right one because there's over 3,000 deployments.
Yeah.
It's all your workshop
Yeah,
people.
exactly. It's probably...
Okay, so we click fact skill. This is actually the complementary skill code to the other template that we just set up on the speech recognition, the developer portal side. Let's click on that. You can read through what it does. It's going to do a few things around permissions. It's going to create your Lambda function for you, but I'm just going to hit go deploy, which is just down here. Okay, and it's going to take about a minute or two to create, and the reason for that is it is doing more than just the Lambda function. It's creating the good security roles, sort of best practice, and it's ensuring that you can
trigger it using
the Alexa function, and also CloudWatch logs, and lots of little things that we would ordinarily show you, but I think you should just select the template and go for it.
Yeah.
Right, so just in case I lost people, I'm going to show you, if you go to Lambda under services, you will see your function there, and it's going to have some strange code at the end, but I wouldn't worry about that as long as it's Alexa skill fact.
Yeah, because we started from that template.
That's what we want. And if we click on it, we will see everything we need, basically.
Yep.
It's ready for Alexa, it's ready for CloudWatch.
Yep.
Is this not ready yet? Oh, no, it is ready.
I think it is.
You got to click on the middle here because that's the actual Lambda function, and then scroll down, and you'll actually see the code for it. This is real deal Alexa skill code that's ready to run. Before showing you that, I'm going to show you probably the most important part to us at the moment, which is this Lambda ARN, which is kind of like a URL. It's the little address of Lambda.
Exactly.
Copy that, so you can click that little button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right into this endpoint here. So back to the developer console, scroll down, endpoint, paste the function that was just created for us there, Node.js fact. Yep. And then we're ready to go.
The save is on the,
Saves at the top.
Yep. So what we did is we have this model which we created in the developer account. We have the Lambda function. Well, we need a way to just connect them together. So that's what we are doing at the moment.
Yep. So we got our speech recognition, we got our endpoint. We're just going to put them together.
Yep.
A tip, people will get tripped up on this, is you can't just save the model when you change things. So if I go back to the endpoint and change that, clicking save endpoints is only half the story. You actually need to go back to another section and hit the save model and build model.
Okay.
Because that way the skill will be ready for you. There's a little message down here that we're kind of covering that tells you that.
Let me just,
Right, but in case you're wondering why you set up that endpoint and then the skill doesn't seem to have changed, that's why. You got to save and build.
I wasn't sure for the Lambda you need to build a model as well, but
the little message tells you do, so I just err on the side of caution.
Cool.
But you're right, it might be true. Don't allow. Okay, so time to test.
Yeah, let's test.
Let's see if we get the fact response. That's what we want. So I've actually gone and called it Vacation Countdown. So that's the name. Open.
Here's your fact.
Yeah,
the temperature
it's working.
of the sun can reach 15 million degrees Celsius.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of using the templates. We didn't do much, but now it's working, so we get a good baseline to build at top.
Right. I'm not sure if the session's closed or not.
Probably do it, like we can look at the code. Let's try to see if it is open.
So give me a fact.
Yeah.
And if I get, let's see if the skill responds.
Alaska cost $7.2 million
you know what?
when the US
I'm going to mute you. That is a default Alexa fact response. So open vacation countdown and we'll get another fact. The way you know that's not your skill responding is that there's nothing here in skill.io and JSON output. It gave you this this is just the Alexa service.
Yep, exactly.
Here's your fact. Despite being
Let's wait.
Okay.
Cool.
We've got a fact skill. That's great. It's not the skill we want.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a start.
Do you want to quickly show how it worked, like how the mapping worked in the fact skill?
Sure.
So in the build we had like get new fact intent. So that's the first intent that we can see here.
Yep.
And if we just press that one, so these are all of the utterances. So we ask for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go to the back end, there is one handler that if we can go to the Lambda.
Back to the Lambda. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Get fact intent.
Yeah. So let's have a look.
I'm gonna full screen it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have this get new fact handler. That was what you were mentioning early on. For anything we want to handle, we need to have a handler with two parts. The first part is can handle. You provide what you want to handle. When you receive a message to your back end, is it something that you want to handle? Here we are checking against to make sure if it is a get new fact intent or if it is a launch request. And in the handle, you just type all of the code that you want to provide the message back. And the code is pretty simple. It has like a data structure of a few facts. You randomly picking one of them and then say, here is your fact. And we are using the response builder from the SDK. It just grabs exactly the speech output and create the JSON, send it back to Alexa. So that's how it is working.
Right.
And for each handler, we need to provide it in the list at the end of this code.
So for example, help handler is another standard thing that skills have. It's when a user goes, help me kind of thing in a skill.
Yep.
What it's looking for in this case is help intent.
Exactly.
And just like get new fact intent here.
Exactly.
And just to recap, the reason this one's a bit longer than the other one is it's saying if you've just launched the skill, like open vacation countdown, which is the name of that skill, or if you do that and then ask for a fact, it's going to respond to you with a fact. So you can actually do interesting logic or than just one intent means one piece of functionality.
Exactly. Yep. And at the end, we have to include all of these handlers to a list based on the order. So if we scroll further down to the end.
So if we remember get new fact handler and we scroll down.
So this is like the list of all of the handlers. What it does is when it receives a message, it checks against this list by order. It will check the can handle. Can you handle it? If the answer is no, it moves to the next one till someone can handle such a thing.
This is actually in literal sequential order.
Exactly.
So it's really actually quite important to get the order of this right.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So we have the baseline. Let's have a look at our design and start building the code.
For sure. I'm just looking at what my plan was, and it happens to be exactly that. So
okay,
let's do
cool.
that.
Awesome.
That's the good news. All right. Okay. So we have these scenarios. Typical first-time scenario where we're going to ask, I'm just going to explain what these are without going through them. We're going to ask them when their vacation is. The user is then going to give a date and it's going to remember that.
Exactly.
Then there's the upcoming vacation one, which is you already have a vacation set. You've opened it later on and it's going to tell you how many days.
Exactly.
And then there's like the really happy path, what I call, which is like a woo, your vacation is here. It's for when the vacation is on the day.
Exactly.
Cool. I actually want to start with give a date.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to skip to this one because I find this intent really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the language for this one is, November 5th or December 12, 2020 kind of thing as your vacation date. So let's actually just build this one. I'm going to work out what I'm doing here.
And like for all of these cards are a turn, and you can just pick each one of these turns and start implementing it. And that's the beauty of the design. So we can start from give a date to say, because I know what the user is going to say, what Alexa is responding. So we can start from any of these cards and build it and then test it out.
Okay, cool. Let me go and construct this handler. This is the only one I'm going to type out for you guys. And the reason for that is I think everyone should witness or do their own handler at least once. And for the rest we'll actually paste in because they're a bit bigger. So let me grab the code for that. One. And make it a bit bigger.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm actually going to build a bare bones intent called capture vacation intent handler.
Okay.
And to do that, I'm going to just go up to the model first. I'm doing stuff on the other monitor, I apologize.
That's okay.
Okay, so let's do it from, you can either build the handler first, or you can build the part in the speech recognition stack first. I tend to do the speech part first, at least a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then we have something to trigger.
Yeah, because that's where you start interacting with Alexa. You say something and then it responds back.
Exactly.
So that kind of...
I'm actually going to just junk this intent. We don't need facts
We don't
anymore.
need it.
We're over facts. All right. The intent name is whatever I called it just up here, which is capture vacation intent handler. It's just capture vacation intent, actually. It's not the handler.
Yeah.
Boom.
And we need to introduce some utterances.
So how might you tell people that your vacation is a certain date?
So it can be, it is 5th of November.
Okay. It is, I'm going to create some slots for that because they're parameters. Month 5th of November.
Yeah.
So sorry, we're going days first.
Days first, yeah.
It is actually let's go more American.
Okay.
It is November 5th.
Okay.
Yeah. Month.
Yeah.
So that kind of supports that case.
Yeah.
And then I'll hit enter on this, and it's actually going to go ahead and say, okay, well these are parameters. That's why they're colored or slots.
Yeah.
What do you expect to go into month, and what do you expect to go into day?
So they're numbers.
Okay, cool.
And like for the month, we might have some other slot types that is representing month.
So all of these slot types, this list by default is a bunch of pre-made ones Amazon
Exactly.
gives you.
Exactly.
You can create your own slot
yeah.
list. We're actually not going to do it as part of this, but it is in the console where you can expect users to say anything. And it's really good if you're doing like a trivia game where you have custom answers or something like that.
Yeah.
But in our case, it just so happens that if I type month,
we have a month.
there is
That's
a month
awesome.
handler.
Yeah.
So that expects you to say a month. And it's speech recognition's being highly tuned to expect that. So that's great. We don't have to go and do the work of naming all the months and training it. Okay, and then we've got day. And the
probably
day
number.
It's probably going to be number.
Yeah. So what we are doing here, if you notice, like Steve typed things in curly braces. So when you do that, that means it creates a slot. I don't want to add all of the utterance of every permutation of month and day here. I want to say there is a placeholder for month and day. It can be any combination of these two. And then the value, the acceptance value for this, we need to define it, which is what we are doing here. So as Steve mentioned, we can just design the slot types ourselves to say, I have a month type and these are the acceptance value. But Amazon made things easier. Like we have all of these built-in ones, which starts with Amazon. And then usually have a look in there. If it is in the list, go ahead and use it. If not, then there is a section on the left-hand side which says slot types, and you can add your own.
It's pretty extensive, as you can see.
Yeah.
From city names, suburb names,
Colors.
country names, authors,
Yep.
movie names, artists of any kind, animals. There's a lot in there, so it's a great time saver.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's come up with a couple of other ways that we might say, I can think of one, my vacation is month and day.
Yep.
And I'll do another one.
Okay, cool.
What if the skill asks you, which we're going to implement later because it's in the dialogue, when's your vacation? Someone might just go, I know that Kevin, who was here last, he would just be like November 5th. So
Okay, so
let's just
he
do
wants
that.
to keep it short.
He's a snappy guy. So let's just support Kevin by anticipating that some people are going to say month and day.
Yeah.
You got one?
I'm going, you can start with
I'm going
November 5th, on November 5th.
month
Yeah.
and day, which will support anything. Great. So we've got that. We've got an intent, capture vacation intent. We've got a bunch of phrases that will trigger it, and then a bunch of parameters that will be triggered once we fill them by saying things like June 2nd.
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
And again, like spend enough time here to make sure you are adding so many combinations to the utterances. and don't force people to learn exactly to use one of these phrases. They want to say things naturally, and your skill would add up to how they speak.
Yeah, your skill is not a phone robot. It's
Exactly.
not press 2 for...
Yeah.
I just realized something as I spoke. November 5th, June 2nd, what are they? They're not numbers. Well, they kind of are, but they're actually ordinals.
Exactly.
So we did it kind of wrong, but we saved ourselves before doing anything. So let's find ordinal.
Do we have it?
We will have it. Ordinal. Oh, Amazon ordinal doesn't exist in the Australian model. Let's go for number then.
Yeah.
Okay, if we were doing this in the US one, we would have ordinal sitting there.
Okay.
If it's not in your country's model, it will be soon.
You have to build it. Yeah,
and it will be soon,
Yeah,
as a rule.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're done. We're going to be able to say stuff like November 5, December 6.
Yeah.
Save model.
Yeah. And this is to make it simple to be able to finish it today. So we have to spend more time. Like November 5th is something they would definitely say. So we have to build it. But let's keep it simple for now.
Custom type must not be empty.
Custom type. So let's see what's happening here.
What do we got?
If we go to these types individually, what would happen? So we have the slot type, so month is okay. What about the day?
What about day?
That's
Amazon
okay.
number. Looks good to me.
Let's save it again and see what's happening.
Missing type name.
Type name must not be empty. Missing type name. So let's see, where are we using a type name?
Yeah. Is this one defined? Do we think we've done this one?
Look at the slot types?
Hang on.
Yeah,
There's Europe City should be here because I accidentally hit that.
Yeah. Probably that was that.
And there's also slot name cannot be empty. So it's expecting me to fill something in there, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe, yeah. Let's try to save it.
Okay, let's try and save it. Ooh.
I think that's this one.
I think it is this one.
Yeah. If you just press here.
Yeah.
Try to type something and then delete it.
I reckon that it's actually expecting a third slot.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it. So if I do that and then I delete it, delete intent slot, and then I go and save model and hold my breath, it hates me. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to junk this intent and I'm going to really quickly do it again. Okay. Delete intent. This is the cursor of live demos. Okay.
Yeah.
Month. Day. And I'm going to put the other one that I like. I'm going on vacation. Month, day. Oops. Month. And day.
Yeah.
These are my utterances. Select the slot type.
That should be month.
And number. They're up the top because I've done it before. And then I just
save
and hold my breath.
Oh no!
It doesn't like it. Missing type name.
I have no idea what's happening.
Let's go to the JSON editor.
Have we done something without noticing? So let's have a look from the top.
Look at this. What's this type thing? There's a name, there's an empty name in types.
Oh, that's this one. On the left-hand side, for some reason,
there's an empty one.
Yeah, let's
Good spot.
it.
Okay. Boo.
This time it should work.
Okay. So if you were following us like down to the T and you found that there was a problem, it's because there was an empty type, a slot type, a custom one, sitting down there, and this should work.
Ooh,
okay, we righted the ship.
Cool.
This is why doing this is so cool, because you do get real problems. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just go to the simulator and say I'm going on vacation, and I'll crash it because we're not supporting it, but I'll show you what that looks like in the skill IO.
Yep, that would be awesome.
Yep.
So we'll wait for this to build, as Steve mentioned, when you make any change, build it, and then start testing it.
Very cool. Okay.
That's okay.
Get rid of that. Development. Okay, so I'm actually going to tell vacation countdown. I'm going on vacation, November, and you have to type it as a word, not a number.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be capitalized though.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going on vacation November 3rd.
Yeah.
And it's going to crash. sorry, an error occurred, which is the error handler in the skill.
Yep.
But the part I actually want to point out is, and I'll make this a bit bigger, is that intent request has been called because I tell vacation countdown, which is the skill,
Yep.
and then I told it something, and what it did was it went, okay,
Yep.
the user said I'm going on vacation November 3rd to the skill.
Exactly.
What intent is that likely to be?
Exactly.
And because I had a sample utterance in there
Yep.
that was I'm going on vacation month day, it was like, okay, this is definitely capture vacation intent,
Yep.
or most likely. And then it went so far as to fill what I said, which was November, and then it actually and then it filled it with a question mark.
Yeah.
And we learned that we're not doing ordinal.
Yeah, exactly.
So I need to go through and actually say 3. And we'll get the same error, but in this case, the day has been filled with 3.
Because we were using the number, it's expecting the number, so that's how the mapping worked. But the beauty is that we set the utterance, it did a good job of mapping it to the right intent, and it just filled in the slot. So in the slot, you can see the name, the value, and a bunch of other information.
And it sent this through to the skill.
Yeah.
So this has actually gone to the skill.
Yep.
Skill doesn't know what to do with it, so it's crashed, but
Yep.
Let's make the skill actually handle it somehow, just a little bit.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, cool. For that, I'm going to need my sample code sitting here so I can pretend that I know it off the top of my head. All right, we've got, so each handler looks like this.
Yep.
Constant help handler. We're just doing plain old JavaScript.
Yep.
No vacation.
So we need a name of the handler.
Yep, so you can call it whatever you want. But
Exactly.
okay, and like I said, handler has two
parts.
key components.
Yeah.
Can handle, which is like this. And I'm going to put nothing in it to start with, and then handle. And I know that that contains handler input, which is that JSON that you actually saw in skill.io.
Yeah.
What's the form of that? Whoops. And then I'm going to go, they went like that, so I'm going to go like that, and then this. So we've got our can handle, which is the rules for picking, like, so what triggers this handler?
Exactly.
So let's do a very, very standard handler, but just based on the intent that was triggered.
Yep.
Const request equals handler input dot request envelope is big enough envelope dot request.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just our request object.
Yep.
For the input. So this is the skill.io, the left side of the skill.io in the simulator.
Exactly.
Pretty much, or the part that we care about. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to return request.type. Don't worry if this is all documented and you can copy it.
Yeah.
You're not expected to know this off the top of your head.
Exactly.
I'll explain this in a second. And
the request.intent.name
triple equals capture vacation intent handler.
Probably without handler. Just the intent.
You are absolutely right.
Depends on how we
You're
named
absolutely
it.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
I must have named it in the other skill that I was coding.
Okay.
You're absolutely right there. Okay, so we've got our handler. Our can handle is trying to trigger off, it will trigger off if the return is true.
Yeah.
So if this function returns true, can handle returns true, then we will go into handle. If not, it's just going to keep door knocking until it finds the next one.
Exactly.
So if help was the next handler, I don't know if it is, we can find out later. It'll try that one. It'll say, well, are you help? No. Okay. Are you stop? Yes. Okay, I'll handle that.
Yeah.
In this case, we're going, okay, so we've got our request object through to the skill. Is it an intent request?
Yep, exactly.
As opposed to hitting a button on a screen or launching the skill.
Exactly.
And then the next thing it asks, let's put my phone on mute, is, all right, if it's an intent request, then what's the name of the intent?
Exactly.
And if it's capture vacation intent, which is the name of our intent.
Now we want to handle it.
Indeed.
We can start coding. And I think to the can handle, we need to pass the handler input.
You're absolutely right too.
So that's...
Handler input, yeah. Can't take nothing. Handler input's like this, almost like this catch-all object for things, for the information that comes through when you speak or interact with Alexa.
Exactly.
You're going to use it a lot.
Exactly. So let's handle it.
Yes. Something else you're going to use a lot is response builder, which is part of handler input. So there's this thing called response builder.
Yep.
And it's got a speak function.
Yep.
Will I put it on its own line? I think it will. We're going to run
Make
out
it
of room
easier
otherwise.
to read. Yeah.
Speak. So there's a little function on it called speak, and I'm going to say my vacation intent.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't end there. You can't just return the speak. You always have to return get response.
Yeah, exactly. So it gets your message, whatever you put in the speak, and just wrapped it in a format that Alex understands, package it up, and send it back.
So that's cool. Let's
Cool.
hope we don't have any issues, but if we do, we can definitely get out of them.
Yep.
So
I think that's a good start.
yeah.
One other thing we need to do here, we talked about we need to add these handlers in the chain of the
That's a good point.
order of it. So
This is why you're here, because I wouldn't be able to do this without you. Okay. What I've forgotten to do is, and this is the reason it's underlined, mind you, very faintly in the Lambda editor, is because it's not being, we haven't actually added it or registered it as a handler.
Exactly. So we always need to register it.
And funnily enough, our old fact handler, which we dumped,
Yeah. So
as
now
we
we have
deleted it, is can't be found. So
Yeah.
that's why you got the little warning thing. It's not
Exactly.
defined. Well, okay, let's just replace it with that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you reckon we're ready to go?
I think so.
I don't trust myself.
I hope so.
Okay. All right.
Like
saved.
in live coding, things can go wrong, but we'll figure it out.
That's why this is so much fun. Okay, cool. So I think we're cool. I've saved it.
Yeah.
You don't need to rebuild the model or anything like that. We were doing the AWS side of things. The
Exactly.
endpoint's already set up. So all we really need to do is I'm going to make sure that's exited.
Yeah. Like
The old skill.
it forgets all of the state.
Yep. I'm going to just say, tell vacation countdown. I am going on vacation November 3. Yes.
Yay! It
And
worked.
if I had the sound on, it would have said my vacation intent.
Yes. Cool.
So that's the response from the skill code,
Yep.
which
So,
is
so
pretty
that
cool.
was a good start. Now we know the concept of handler, how to use the can handle and handle, and how to add it to the chain of handlers.
I'm going to do one more thing.
Okay.
That's good practice. I'm going to
Okay.
set up a Lambda test.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
And especially setting up a Lambda test is good when things are not working properly. So let's see how
Right.
people can test it.
All right. So I'm going to get out of the little code editor part of Lambda.
Yep.
Okay, now we're back in the main sort of console.
Yep.
What I want to do is set up this test up here. I can throw any event, any set of JSON at all, really, at the Lambda function,
Yeah.
and our skill code will try and handle it.
Okay.
So what I can actually do is configure test events,
Yep.
and I'm going to do it from scratch. I'm going to go out here,
And grab the.
and I'm actually going to grab the whole
Yeah.
JSON from the
that's-
skill IO, just the input,
Yep.
and I'm going to feed it directly to this test event
Exactly.
as a new test event.
So this is kind of telling if this is coming from Alexa, what the Lambda would do.
Yeah.
So that's
try and
what we're.
increase it's if this was coming from Alexa as a request, just like we did in the simulator, how are you going to handle it? What's the response going to be? So I'm going to say it's I'm going to call it my vacation nov 3.
Yep.
All right. So I'm sending these parameters through.
So we created that one.
Okay, so it's up here. We've got the test.
Yep.
I'm actually going to show you somewhere else you can execute that. So going back to the code, because we're going to live in the code,
Yep.
really. There's a little test thing up here
Yep.
that corresponds to that. My vacation nov 3. It's a little small, but
Yep.
that's the one we just set up. So if I just hit test, it should actually just give us a JSON response
Awesome.
object, just like the simulator would.
Yep.
And you can, and it's just a really quick way of testing what you've done. And it's really great in a way because you can just go like this and really wreck your code and then save it and then
to
test it
test
straight
it,
away.
Yeah.
And it's going to fail.
Yeah.
Capture vacation handler is not defined.
Yeah.
It just shows you the logs straight away. I tell you what the skill would do. I'll actually run the skill now that it does that. It's going to give you far less information for that. It's going to say an error occurred,
Okay.
or there was a
There was
problem,
with the requested
which is
skill
actually the
response.
skill crashing. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
tell you anything else.
Anything? Yeah.
So a great thing to do is set up this Lambda test event. It'll show you the actual logs for the Lambda function straight away, and tell you that, not that there was a problem with the Alexa skill response, which is really
Exactly.
generic. It's going to say,
Yep.
oh, capture vacation intent handler is not defined. And the
Exactly.
reason it's not defined is because my
we-
cat walked on the keyboard.
When you're testing, if things are not working, what I do is first I check the model to see when I type things in, did it map it to the right intent? If it did, that means the model is okay. Now I can move
Yep.
off to the Lambda. Now I can grab all of the JSON, place it here, start testing.
Yep.
That it provides lots of information here, but if it doesn't and you need more information, you can add console.log and
That's
log
true.
more information here and just debug it your way.
That's true. You can do plain old, oops, not there, but you can do plain old JavaScript. We'll do a little bit of that at some point. Hello, logging there, and that'll show up in CloudWatch,
Exactly.
and we'll do that
Yep,
in a
yep,
bit, actually.
exactly.
So
Awesome.
let's save it and test it and just make sure that we're back
It
on,
works,
on
yeah.
the road.
Cool.
Is that correct?
Probably.
Yes, my
Okay.
vacation intent
Okay,
was,
cool.
retrieved. I wish I could make that a little bigger, but this one is not enlarging.
Cool.
Right. Okay, so we've got that. Next thing I'm going to do is actually copy and paste in the part that actually takes the slots, the relevant slots
Yep.
in the skill. Because right now, all we're doing is triggering the right intent, capture
Exactly.
vacation intent.
Yep.
We've told our skill that our vacation is November 3rd
Yep.
or 3.
Yep.
And the skill's gone, that's nice. It's
Yep.
gone, you triggered the intent.
Exactly.
It hasn't done anything about the parameters. It hasn't taken November, it hasn't taken 3. It's
Exactly.
certainly not saving them anywhere.
Exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
cool. This GitHub here, you can obviously see it here, but we'll link it.
Yeah.
You can copy everything out. Don't worry. The code will be accessible. Okay, so I'm going to wholesale replace what I just did with this more fleshed out, and then we can talk through it.
Yeah. Exactly.
cool.
Awesome.
Okay, let's scroll down. Try and get that whole handler in the
Yep.
view at the same time. Yep. All right, so drink. Capture vacation intent handler now has slots in it. You want to talk to that while I drink?
Yeah. So now we have the handler. So again, we are checking against capture vacation intent handler. I think we need to change this to
You're absolutely
intent.
right. Yep. Back to intent.
Oh, that one is handler.
Oh, you're absolutely right again.
Yeah.
The one we want to change is actually the name
Exactly.
in the model.
Exactly, and it should be exactly the same as
Yep.
the one that we had in the model.
Intent name.
Yeah, and now that we want to handle it, what we are doing is grabbing a bunch of information from the slot. So we are trying to see if we have year, month, and day available as a slot value. We grab whatever information is in the slot, but then here on the line 16, you can see that we are grabbing attribute manager. So attribute manager allows you to just persist information in the
Which is-
short-term memory, which we are not using it
Not just yet.
but we are creating an object which has year, month, and day based on the information we grab out of the slot. And we are creating a speech text. So this is going to say you are going on a vacation on this month, day, and year. And the rest is easy. Like what we are doing is we are using the response builder to just grab the speech text and provide it back. So aside from the attribute manager, which we are going to cover, it's pretty simple. The information is in the JSON. We've seen it. And all the things that the line 12 to 14 is doing is walking through those nodes of the JSON and grabbing the information.
And anyone who's been paying attention very closely will realize that we haven't done anything to do with year yet.
Exactly, exactly.
But this code will run, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
If I save it now. And in fact, I can just run that same test function against it and see what happens.
Exactly. So this is the beauty of having the test here.
An error occurred, but what is the error?
Let's debug it.
Can I read property value of undefined? Ah, okay. Well, of course not, because there is no year.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to go and make sure that our intent handles not just month and day, but optionally a year. Because
Exactly.
until I do that, it's going to crash.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and add that intent. Go back to build. All right.
So let's go to capture, and now we need a new utterance. It can be month, day, I'm going on vacation,
Month, day,
and
year.
the year. Yep. So
Do we have a year? No, it can't be. 4-digit number.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
number. 4-digit number.
Let's go 4-digit number.
Yeah.
And I'll put another one in, the Kevin version, the terse version, day, year.
Yeah, awesome, cool.
Awesome. So if I save this and we wait a couple of minutes, with luck, this will work.
This will work. Let's see.
But I learned something else. We need to go and recreate our test event. I'll tell you why. Because our test event
doesn't have the year.
Doesn't have the year in it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
because
have to...
we copied it from the time we didn't have that
just have
slot.
month and day. So at the moment we look for year, it's like, what do you mean?
Exactly. So
we'll have to go and run the test.
Run the test again. Yeah.
Let's wait.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's go to the test.
Let's hold our breath and see if this works. Don't allow. Okay. No more microphone. Tell the vacation countdown. I'm going on vacation June. No, I'm going to say August. 15th. 2019. 2019. Let's see how it handles that.
Yeah, and we have to type things in.
You're going on vacation on
Awesome.
August 15,
It worked.
2019.
Love it.
Okay,
So that's our skill response. I'm almost surprised that it worked. Okay, so let me go and replace. So this is back to Lambda in AWS with our test, one that we had set up. And if I just go and replace what was in the skill IO in the input here, for that particular utterance, I just typed in. I could have said it to the mic, but I typed it in. As you can see, year has been added to the slot list as parameter. Now my test function has this. I save it, and I can actually go back here and run that test event just to make sure that we're all good. Yep, test. And with any luck, you're going on vacation on August 15, 2019.
Cool, awesome.
And we're good.
Awesome.
Good.
That's an amazing baseline. So
all right. So we can tell the skill that we're going on vacation at a particular date. That includes year, optionally.
Yep.
What it's not doing is remembering that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So let's do that bit.
Okay, cool. I'm going to just remember how I wanted to do that. Okay, here we go. I left a couple of things here that do database stuff, and so I'll uncomment them. Yep. And you're going to be surprised, I think, how little code you need to save stuff to a database. Things,
So to be able to persist information, users have two ways. Like they can use short-term memory, which we use the session attribute, and then you can persist it in a database. So if I just need the information to the length of the dialogue in one session, it's okay to just persist it using the session attributes.
A good example of that is like remembering maybe quiz scores. If you're in the middle of the quiz round, you don't need that next year.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where this is the save part of that. So we're setting the attributes, which are here, and then we're saving them. I'll go into why that's red in a second, but I'll also show you the other part where that makes the database work.
So
down here.
So we are just adding a few lines to say, what's the name of the database, because Alexa is going to create it on our behalf. We don't have to create the DynamoDB table ourselves. We just say what's the table name and how to persist information, and it do the job. And
the function for that is with table name. And I'm going to call it vacation skill users.
Yep, that's awesome.
Cool. So it expects a Dynamo database, and it's going to look in your AWS account for this table in that region.
And if it doesn't exist, it creates it, but I'm not sure if you need to add with auto.
There is a function called with auto create too. And when it works, it's amazing because it will go and create your Dynamo table if it doesn't exist, and it will set it up the right way. When I tried it a couple of days ago, it wasn't working. So let's go conservative. And let's go explicit and just show the creation of a Dynamo database, which is really simple. And then that way we know the database exists.
Okay, cool. So we want to create the database ourselves, but know that that function exists, and you can just explore that as well.
For sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so services, Dynamo.
The DynamoDB,
Yep, I'm going to try to open that in a new tab. All right.
Create a table.
If you've got no tables already, it's going to look like this. And my table name is vacation.
Yep.
Skill users. The partition key is ID and it's a string.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yep. Yep.
And this ID is actually a user ID. We'll go through that in a sec.
Yep. Yep.
Great. All right.
And it takes a little time to create the table. And you mentioned you're going to use user ID, which is pretty unique based on the account and that specific skill. So that's unique, and we can use it as the key for our tables.
It's anonymous.
Yeah.
But it's unique.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. So we've got our table. It's sitting here.
Yep.
Let me go back to here and fix one code thing that came up. So we've got our vacation skill users.
Yeah.
And if we go back to our capture vacation intent handler,
Yeah.
we'll notice that
red.
there is red. For those not familiar with the await function in JavaScript, it's basically a substitute for promises, which were much messier for this kind of situation. This means that something like saving to a database takes time. It's asynchronous. But in this case, we actually need to wait for it to happen, just so we know it works. So I've got the await function here.
Yep.
The reason it's yelling at me is because it needs to be. Okay, maybe it's yelling at me for a different reason.
Does it need async in front of handle? Yeah.
So the error doesn't really tell you that, which I find really annoying if I'm fixing it by doing this, but async. Yeah. So anything with a wait in it needs async in it, but that's more a JavaScript lesson than
exactly.
Alexa skill
Exactly. So what we are doing is we have the session attributes. So we have the vacation attributes as like an object in that format, which has the year, month, and day. We are saying attribute manager set persistent attributes and just persist vacation attributes. So that's what we are doing. And when we set it, we need to save it back. So that's the part that await is doing. Await and save persist attribute.
There you go. And then it tells you you're going on vacation then, and we're all set. So actually, we've got everything we need, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I've saved it, and
let's try. Cool.
All right. Tell vacation, countdown. I'm going on vacation, August 15, 2019.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
That's okay.
So
because we didn't type T.
Yeah. That's a rookie error. Okay, try again.
Sorry.
All right. What
now
do
we have the JSON input, so we can debug it. Let's have a look and see if everything is okay here.
Okay, so we've got this. We've called the right things.
Yep. So it looks to me okay. So let's go to the back end and see what's happening.
Let's run the test. Okay, we scroll down on this.
Hopefully
Error
we get
handle
something.
could not save item. I know why. Okay. So it's trying to save to the database.
Yep.
And it knows the database exists, because otherwise it would say that the database doesn't exist.
Yep.
But it can't save the item. And the reason for that is permissions. All right, so in Lambda, so what I've done is we're in the full screen code. We're not in the full screen code anymore. This is the Lambda function. If you scroll down, there's actually a role
which is this one?
Yeah, it's a security group basically that's allowed to, that runs this function, and it dictates basically what other services you can contact.
Exactly.
By default, it's really restrictive because you don't want Lambda doing all kinds of crazy stuff with AWS.
Yeah.
So what I can do is actually click on that role and see what it can do. Just from the name, really, we can see the AWS basic execution. So all it really is allowed to do is execute a Lambda function.
Exactly.
Not handy when we want to do database stuff. So I'm going to get rid of that policy. I'm going to attach a little, like a liberal policy, slightly more liberal policy.
Okay.
Slightly. Okay, so it's gone from the role. I'll attach a new policy to the role. And what I'm looking for is the Lambda ones. There is actually one in here called Lambda Full Access.
Yeah.
And it says provides full access to Lambda, DynamoDB, CloudWatch metrics and logs. Now I don't know. I don't need S3 at the moment.
Yeah.
Object
but
store.
we know that later on we are going to probably use S3.
We might.
We might, yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So you might want to go more restrictive than,
Yeah.
than this, but this will work.
Yeah.
So let's attach the policy.
Yeah.
Now we have Lambda full access, which
Exactly.
includes Dynamo.
Exactly. So just
Yeah.
add the right policy and keep
Indeed.
it minimal because you don't want things to go wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't do administrator full access or anything
Yeah.
like that. You never know who will get into your Lambda function. If you go services, by the way, that service we were dealing with is called IAM. That's the user management for AWS
Yeah, yeah.
and role
Yeah.
management and stuff. Okay,
Awesome.
So
So
we're
now
here.
we have the full access. Let's see
let's just
if
try
it works.
and,
We can, yeah,
let's do it through Lambda.
Lambda. Yeah. That's,
We've got this. I'll hit refresh just to make sure it's the same role. It looks like it. Go up
and we hit test.
and we hope. Oh,
Yay, it's
so we got
working.
a good response. Going on vacation on this date, which is exactly what we want.
Yep.
Let's confirm that it actually saved to the database.
Yeah.
So we go back to Dynamo, which I have open in another tab, and vacation skill users,
Yeah, we can go to the
items,
items.
and hurrah, we
Yay.
have.
Yeah. Can you open that one? Yeah.
Yep.
And
Explain it.
Yeah. So if we open these, so what we are seeing here is these are all of the attributes we had. So that's day, month, and year, which work. And this is the user ID we were talking about. Where it is getting it is from the request. So if we have a look at this one, there should be a section which is called user ID.
Yep.
That's the one. Yeah. So this is pretty unique, and it's using it as the key for the database. We didn't do much actually. We just created a table, add a few lines, and everything works nicely together.
Yeah, I mean, to recap, it was like just to save to the database, it was 2 lines of code here.
Yeah.
Set persistent
Yeah.
attributes just to set them and then to save them
Cool.
to the database, and then just name the database at the bottom.
Exactly.
We had to go and create the Dynamo table.
Exactly.
Sometimes you don't. It
Yeah.
didn't work for me on the weekend. But
Okay.
I don't know, but it's really light. Like to get
Exactly.
to be able to save user information past a particular skill session.
Yeah.
It's quite easy. So
So
there you go.
and the use case for just persisting information, if you want to provide a personalized type of information to the user, you are remembering things based on their likes, their dislike, how many times they use the skill, is it the first time, or in our case, we just want to see if they've provided the vacation day.
Yep.
So it's very important to persist information when you can and when it is appropriate, because later on you can provide much more meaningful conversations with the user. So and we've seen how we can do it.
Right. So now we're saving to a database.
Cool.
Let's
What
try
next?
and pull out of a database.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
Let's
and
see.
to do that, I'm just going to copy and paste stuff.
Yeah, awesome.
'Cause
And we
we're
can
lazy.
explain what it does. Yeah.
I'm going to go to here.
Should be
I
section
think
3.
it's 3, yep. So we have this is the one we've been dealing with. No, it's not the one we've been dealing with. That one is capture vacation intent
exactly.
handler. I'm going to pull out 2 other handlers here. Launch request. And has vacation launch request handler.
Yep.
So there's 2 more handlers coming out.
Yeah.
And that should be it. Where have I gone? There I am. And then what order did I have it in? Let's just make sure, because the order matters.
Yeah. So the order should be this one, which is more specific to be
That's
at the
right,
top.
At the top.
Yeah.
And this will become clear later. I really
Yeah.
should stop showing my desktop. Okay, here we are.
So this is 2 other handlers that we had in the design. We mentioned that if they launch the skill, we either have the date or we don't have the date.
So 2 new handlers.
Exactly.
They're underlined for the reason
Yep.
they're always underlined, which is I always forget to add them to.
Oh, okay. So that's
it's
a
just
nice
very subtle underlining.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take launch request handler and handle vacation launch request handler. We won't explain what they're doing yet, but
Yeah.
obviously because I added the intents, I need to register them.
Exactly. And it will get clear in a bit.
Okay, so they're both in there.
Cool. So let's start with
I reckon the simpler
that
one.
the simpler one.
Yeah, this is launch request handler.
Yeah.
All it's looking for
Yeah.
as the user launch the skill.
Yeah.
And let's take this launch request handler and look for it in the design because it should be in the RxD
So
design.
I think that's the last one because, no, that shouldn't be the last one.
It's actually the first one.
The first one. So that's the first time use.
So this is a launch request, open vacation countdown.
Yeah.
We haven't given it anything. We haven't told them about a vacation. I think we're just opening it.
Exactly.
And we don't have a date.
Yeah.
This is basically the way we're evaluating things is, and it's in the order I've actually listed them here. The first thing we do is say, has the user launched the skill and do they have a date saved?
Yeah, exactly.
And if they do, you just tell them how many days left.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the next thing it looks at is, well, has the user just launched the skill? Which is the same as saying, have they just launched the skill without a date set?
Without a
it's
date.
like, is this like the first time they're using the skill?
Yeah, exactly.
And to respond to that in our simplest handler that we have really is, hey, when are you going on vacation? And that's it really.
Exactly. And in previous session when we were designing it with Paul, previously in the can handle, like in the cards, we said like we remember the number of times they launched the skill, and based on that we realize if we ask for the date or not. But later on I changed the design a little bit because we don't necessarily need to do the account. They might launch the skill, still don't provide the date. So what we should rely on is if the date is available. So that's what we need to rely on, and that's what we are doing here. Okay, so let's explain the has vacation launch request handler.
Surprise, it's a lot bigger.
It's a lot bigger, yeah.
I'm not going to go through all this in detail. You can find it on the GitHub.
Yeah.
Its purpose is, let's cover the can handle a little bit because it's important how it's triggered. First thing it does is it looks at the database, get persistent attributes. And then it says, do we have a month and a day saved?
Yeah.
We don't care about year because, as like I said, people don't always say the year when they say when they're going on vacation. But we care about if they have a month and a day. And if they do, we just save it in the session. Our session then knows that person has a date set, a vacation date. And really the ultimate logic to whether this handler gets triggered or not is, have they launched the skill?
Do we have
a month and a day?
Exactly.
And if we do,
we can handle it.
We handle it, and really, a lot of this is just a way of determining how many days left until vacation.
Yeah.
You could consider this handle function. All of this code here is basically a fancy way of saying, tell the user how many days until their vacation. Is it 60 days? Is it 100? And then if it's within, I think I've got 2 days actually, because it's pretty exciting when vacation's the next day. And if it is, then have a celebratory response.
Yeah. So it's just dealing with what information we have and just providing a good response. And I like the bit that we are not checking against the year because we can kind of guess what the year is. If it is in the upcoming months, we assume what they said was current year. Otherwise we assume it's the next year because we already passed that date. In that logic is a little bit complex because we're dealing with that as well, but it's all about dealing with date and time, but not related to the skill building. Let's just have a look at the end of the handle function. So we are just shaping the speech text. So there are a few things that we are providing. So let me just have a quick look to see what we have. So here we can, based on the logic, if you are at this part, we can say, welcome back. It looks like there are this many days until your vacation, and this is the diff days that we were calculating. If it is less than 2 days, that means it's next day. We can say, woo, it's vacation time. That's the other card that we had. So, and this is pretty good because we had two separate cards, but we are using one handler to just implement it.
There's actually 3 scenarios. There's your vacation is passed.
Yeah, and your vacation is passed. So it doesn't mean each turn just translate to one handler.
Yeah, so people might be asking, okay, so we've got a new request handler here. Where's the corresponding intent in the build console? And the answer is, well, you don't need one necessarily.
Exactly.
If the user workflow that was in our design, it just says that the user opens the skill and then it just gives you the answer if you have a vacation up. You don't actually need anything special to speech recognize.
Exactly.
It's just going to give you the answer by opening it.
Exactly.
In reality, in a real skill, you'd have you'd have more stuff like
More
forget my vacation, add another vacation,
Yep.
all of this kind of. We'll get into that like way later, but
Yep.
just wanted to point out that the handlers don't have to map to intents one to one.
Yeah,
They're more,
exactly.
they can be more complex than that and more interesting than that.
Exactly.
Okay, let's
So
try it.
let's try. That's the fun
All right,
part.
save. So, okay, so we've told them when, and we've got it in the database.
Yeah, we have it in the data.
So if we just go
open it.
open vacation countdown. Let's hope it doesn't crash.
You're going on vacation on?
Okay, let's see what
You're going on
happens.
vacation on question mark?
So let's have a look at the model to see. It definitely mapped it to the launch.
Ah, I think I know what happened. It didn't capture vacation intent. I tell you why.
Why?
Because last time we ran this, an error occurred and it kept the skill open. So let's actually just run
let's
this
quit.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta watch, sometimes when you use a real device, it's obvious when the skill's still open or not,
Yeah,
pretty much, because it keeps asking you questions back and
Yep.
forth. I could run this command, an error could occur, the skill could technically still be open,
Yeah.
and then, 2 hours later, I could go and try something and then forget that it was open. It's not the
Exactly.
same as having a device.
Exactly.
So if it gives you a response that seems like a skill response, or let's just say as a general rule, before you start testing things after a while, just do an exit
Yeah.
first
Yeah. Exactly.
and quit the skill,
yeah.
and then start
exactly.
again.
Exactly.
I'm just going to set it up from the start.
You're going on vacation on August
Ooh.
15th,
Okay.
2019.
This thing was coming up on the weekend as well. I wouldn't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Error achieving device rendering. Okay, cool. Open vacation. So you've set it. I know that the skill has closed because should end session is true.
Yeah. Exactly.
And open vacation countdown.
Welcome back. It looks like there are 71 days until your vacation.
There you go. So it looked through the database and realized we had some values set.
Yeah.
And then worked out that the time between now and August 15 is 71 days.
Awesome. This is cool. This is cool. It's working.
It is working. Let's try like today or tomorrow to
Yeah.
see if it gets excited.
Yeah.
So let's go here. What's the date today?
Let me check. It's 5th of June.
Okay, so I'm going on vacation June 6th. June
Yeah.
6th. And I'll just say June 6th. without
Should be
the year,
enough because it should predict the year.
Hopefully, with any luck.
You're going on vacation on June 6th.
Okay, now open vacation countdown.
Woo.
Ooh, it's working. Cool.
Okay.
I like it, but we can make it more exciting.
Yeah, it's kind of boring, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
woo,
little.
it's
yeah,
vacation time.
because the goal of this skill was just to excite them of upcoming vacation. So there are lots of things that people can do to make it more exciting. They can use SSML, speech cons, and so let's play with
Yeah.
those and see
Okay.
how we can make it more engaging.
All right, so what do we have? Do you want to go through like the grab bag of tricks that we have?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me run. And I'll just pull up the links for these things, and then
We can walk through them.
we can walk through them. Okay, so we've got 3 links here.
So this is the list of SSML. So SSML is a speech synthesized markup language. It allows you to just place some tags around the text so that Alexa say things in a different way, in a more engaging way. If I scroll down a little bit, these are all of the cool things you can do.
Yeah.
The one that I really like is when you make Alexa whisper. Like if you want it to whisper, you can just add a whisper tag and that's it.
Yeah,
And
she starts whispering.
Exactly.
She can speak higher pitched, lower pitched, slower,
Exactly.
faster, louder.
Exactly. So many things. And sometimes it's kind of mandatory to use. Like if I have a number, I want to tell Alexa how to read it. I want it to read it in a cardinal way. So that's pretty important. What I do is I just add these tags and test it here. So if I go back to your this one, the voice and tone, people sometimes don't notice it exists. So what you can do is just paste the phrases and the tags and start playing with it. When it feels right, then I grab it and paste it in my code.
You generate your phrases there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
cool.
let's play just with this one. This was the whisper one that I mentioned. So I'm just adding that and let's play it.
I want to tell you a secret. I am not a real human.
It's
Can you
pretty cool.
believe it?
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So when you are creating a skill, go ahead and have a look at these options. let me see if we have this tag available as well.
The language tag?
Yeah, the language tag and the
Yeah.
voice. I'm not sure if it is here. Yeah, so I like this one.
Paris. They pronounce it Paris.
Yeah.
Paris.
Paris. So we have this one which is lang, so I like it because you can just say which language it is. We also have one which is called voice.
There you go. So
Yeah. So this is the like we have like people should be familiar with Poly. It's an AWS service. What I used to do before was to provide the phrase to the Poly and download the equivalent message. There were lots of different characters, male and female, that I could choose. Now we have this tag available for Alexa. So all you need to do is just find the right character of your interest, add the tag, and now the voice would change. And I've seen people create lots of interesting games out of it.
People have entire skills where the dialogue between two characters will be two different Poly voices, for example. That's really cool.
Yeah. So this is a library of different sounds that you can use. We have this tag which is called audio. What you would do is you have like audio, you can place it in a S3 bucket. There is a unique URL. So this is not from S3 bucket. You can just host it anywhere that you would like. You just provide the link to the source, and Alexa is going to mention these phrases and then jump and play the sound, whatever that would be. And the last one that we have is a speech gun. Speech guns are special words and phrases that Alexa pronounce in a certain way. And it's unique for each country. Like when we are looking at here, this is for US. Let me just see if I can go to the AU one. Let me just type Alexa speech guns Australia. Yep, that should be that one. If you're looking for special phrases in your locale, just have a look at here. And we have this one. This is the unique way for us to say hello.
Let's copy this one. Let's be
and
very
see how
Australian.
it's,
So let's put this g'day.
And let's play that.
Not English US though.
Here is an example of a speech con. G'day.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Very Australian. I'm going to give another tip as well, and that requires a little bit of code, the random phrases.
Yeah.
How would you feel if your friends and family said exactly the same thing in exactly the same way every time you said hi and how are you and stuff?
I probably would lose interest because
Like
I know
robots
what they're robots, or I know what they're going to say, so why bother to ask?
Right.
So whenever you get a chance, just provide different messaging. If you want to say goodbye, have 10 different ways or even more of saying goodbye, and just randomly pick one of them and provide it. And this is what Steve is doing.
I've built a little function called random speech, and all it does is take an array. Can have any SSML in it or any text in it really that you want Alexa to say, and all it's going to do is pick one at random. And it's like such a simple function. It's like 2 lines, but it's dynamite for exciting skills.
Exactly.
So I've also built a little array here called I called Yay in capitals. That is a bunch of Alexa interjections. So just like she can say g'day in a fun way, she can say aloha and bon voyage and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is plug Yay into random speech in the right place, and for the celebratory, I guess, part, and see how she sounds.
Awesome. Let's do that.
All right. Okay, so we're back in. So let's go back up to the top. Has vacation launch request. So we have the vacation.
Yeah.
We're going to go into handle, and just scroll down to the bottom of handle,
It
and
should be this guy.
yeah, if the we're within 2 days of your vacation, it's time to get excited. The way she says woo at the moment is really underwhelming. Woo, it's vacation time. So let's this trick, by the way, it's a JavaScript thing again, only works if you've got these kind of quote marks.
Yeah.
The one below the tilde, just by the way.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So
Good
if people
point.
are doing this syntax and then wondering why they're getting errors. Okay, so I've got the random speech function, and I'm going to put Yay into it.
Yep.
And then I'm going to save it.
And let's play that.
And I can just, I can actually test it here in the simulator. Let's try again. Open vacation countdown.
Bon voyage.
Yay.
It's vacation time.
This is cool.
Let's
This
do
is
it
good.
again.
Let's do it again.
Huzzah!
Awesome.
One more.
One more.
Bon voyage.
We got to get another one.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So it's more fun.
Love it.
It's more fun. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just better. It's
Yeah.
snappier dialogue and it changes.
Exactly.
And you can see just how quickly the 2 lines of code and a bunch
Exactly.
of random phrases can
Exactly.
make it feel just a little more human.
Exactly. Awesome. So we made it more fun. What about using any sound effects
I
or
reckon
something?
we should go to the sound library and I reckon we should plug a sound in.
Let's see what we
I
have
like
here.
the quiz ones, but do you have any favorite game show sounds? Like,
Yeah. Let's play that and see how it sounds.
I
like.
think positive response is the one I'm looking for. Positive one of these.
Yeah. What else? This was more exciting. This is good.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just use
Let's
that.
go for that.
I'm sure there's more exciting ones in there.
Yeah. And you are not limited to these ones. Like you
No.
can grab any sound that you have from other places, place it in S3 bucket, and
Host
use
your
the
own
URL.
MP3s, yeah.
Exactly.
It's a great way to make skills exciting. Okay, so let's do that at the start of this random speech sort of part. So now my speech text is play this audio, which is from our sound bank,
Yep.
which is
very
in our
good.
documentation, and then it's going to do what it did before. So save.
Let's play that.
Whoops.
Ooh.
Huzzah! It's vacation time.
It's more
There you go.
exciting.
If you were
Yeah.
counting down the days, you're a kid,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
counting down the days until your vacation,
Yeah, yeah.
and your mum or dad, or is gonna get an answer
Yeah.
for how many days till vacation. You're gonna want to hear huzzah and a sound. Is what I'm
Exactly,
saying.
exactly.
More than woo, it's vacation
Exactly.
time. All right, so that
think-
does us for, I think,
Yeah.
the
Let's
major functionality of the skill.
exactly. Let's have a look at the design that we had. I think we had a help and
Yeah,
a stop.
That is true. We haven't gone through that.
And
We have the main scenarios are built out.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so help, for example, let's blow that way up.
So let's quickly show the stop and help.
Do we have stop and help? We have help.
We have help.
We
yeah.
don't have stop in here. You want to see the code?
Yeah, the code
Let's
exactly.
do that. Okay, so we have a exit handler. Let's look at that first.
Yep. So this comes from the template, the fact template that we use. So thankfully it's over there. So we just need to explain what it does. Yeah.
All right.
So if we have, we have this exit handler. So if the request type is intent request and the type is either cancel or stop, and as you can see, these are like the built-in intents.
Yep.
If we look at the model, because
Let's do that.
Oh, wrong mouse.
Sorry, I'm mousing here.
Thank you.
So build, and if we look at, get rid of this.
Yep.
We have a built-in intents section.
Yeah. So by default, it added help, stop, and cancel, and is just a built-in type. So we don't have to think about what utterances to add there. Amazon did a good job to add whatever people say that represent that. And if we go back to the Lambda function, we can see that if it is one of those types, we just say goodbye. And the same way, we should have one for the help. Yep, that's this guy. And if it is a help intent, I just provide a help message. So that's the whole idea. I think we are done with the skill itself. The voice interaction works nicely.
Please, until your next vacation. Vacation, can I help? Sort of thing, and how can I help? So I'm just filling out the help there. We're not even going to test it though. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So
that kind of does this for the main part of the main functionality of the skill. It's a little fun.
Yeah.
We're missing one big thing though. I will show you. We're not going to cover it in this particular module.
Okay.
But you will be able to access it. If we look at test and we open vacation planner and she gets very excited, vacation countdown. She gets very excited over the vacation. If you're using a screen device,
Aloha.
if you're using
It's
an Echo
vacation
Show,
time.
or you're using an Echo Spot,
Yep.
this is what you'll see. You'll actually see on the real devices. You'll actually see a grey screen with the school logo and nothing else. And it's a little disappointing to get that if you've got your vacation here. You probably want to see more than that.
So let's do that. Let's use APL to show some of these features. Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to the code. For APL, I'm going to steal some code from myself, but then also show you how to do stuff.
Yep.
Let me just prepare all of that. Repositories. Oh, I'm already there. Hang on. GitHub logo was covered.
Cool.
Okay, this is my APL document. So APL is the Alexa presentation language. It's a very simple way of arranging fairly simple screens.
Yep.
Compared to what you might be able to do with a mobile app.
Exactly.
The idea is we're not trying to develop apps on Alexa. They're voice forward, like you covered. We're really visually complementing the experience. And so the Alexa presentation language is just a very simple way to produce views and some light interactivity. You can scroll, you can touch a little bit, but it's not supposed to be a hands-on experience.
Exactly.
All right. So where would I start if I had if I was starting out with APL? My favorite thing to do is to go to the authoring tool.
Yep. So let's show the authoring tool.
Alexa authoring tool. So let's actually build a screen together, a really, really simple screen together. If you Google APL authoring tool.
So we can start by just showing an image when we provide one of these interactions. Let's see how to design it.
So we give you a series of templates. APL templates to start with that you can go and edit. I'm actually going to go crazy and start from scratch.
Okay, let's do that.
Right, and up here you see that these are all the little device types you can support.
Yep.
Okay, so this on the bottom left is going to be a series of components that, like containers to hold things, text, images, anything. I'm just going to start building stuff, and you can follow along. So
okay, cool.
Here we go.
See.
Container. Probably should have a container.
Yeah.
Add. Okay. I'm hovering over it and it's not showing on the screen, and I'll tell you the reason why.
So we are kind of building the interface through this tooling.
But a container it's a thing that holds other things. Web developers, it's most similar to a div or something like that. It's a block element.
And is it defaulted to 0, right?
Yes. So if we got 100 view width as the width, and then if I go and page search for height for this component, 100 view height. So it's going to scale to 100% basically. Awesome. I know that container's there because if I hover over it, which I just did, it's blue.
Yeah.
Cool. Things should live in containers. It's a good rule. Let's go and grab an image that I found earlier, like what I think is a royalty-free image from Twitch Master Builder. And I'm going to, because I think this is cool. It's a pretty nice image to show, right?
To show for your vacation.
Yeah, who knows what that is. All right, so to do that, I'm going to add an image in this container.
Okay.
Select component.
Should be image.
Somewhere. Image.
Cool.
Add. An image has a source, which is the URL.
Yeah.
Okay. You can see by default that image is tiny.
Yep.
I can tell you now, like all of this is documented, so please just seek out our documentation. But for the record, the scale is best fill, which does the best job to fill your width and your height properties. So let's go again, 100 view width. It's out there, and then for height.
Yep, the same. We should do
100 view height.
Yep.
Wonderful. Love it.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
That's good.
Another thing is I'm going to put text over it, so I'm going to position it absolute. That allows me, all that means is just hold that image there and you can pretty much put anything else over it.
Yep.
Okay. One more thing about this, a little trick. What you'll find is if you're displaying images on screen in Alexa and you want to stick text over it or other images over it and stuff, things can get quite jumbled because backgrounds can often be colorful, they can be bright.
Correct.
We provide you a little setting called overlay color.
Okay.
And that allows you to have like a sort of semi-transparent color. Think of it as a tint
Okay.
So we got background image. So let's just do that.
Yep.
GBA 000. That's black. Red, green, blue. 000
Okay.
is
Yep.
black.
Okay.
And 0.9 is very tinted. So you probably won't be able to see on the video there, but let's wind that tint down a little bit. 0.7.
Okay.
See how it's tinted?
Yeah, yeah.
Like 70% basically.
yeah.
That last one is the alpha channel.
This is really cool.
0.5. Okay, so we got a little tint. That means that when we put text over this, it's not going to get it's not going to blend into the background. It's going to stand out more.
Exactly. The image is still there, but the font is going to be pretty visible.
Exactly.
Cool.
Okay, next thing we're going to add is we're going to go and
Text.
add text because we want something that's like yay. Okay, neat trick. You don't actually have to scroll through this list of properties. You can also go, if you get used to APL and its syntax, you can kind of hit document instead, and that shows you the code for that section.
Like the JSON equivalent, so that you can just edit. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, how do I show that instead of this, just for that component? I think I have to show it for the whole lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for example, for image, the image item has the width I set, the source I set, best fill, the overlay color, everything's there. Right now I just created text, so nothing else is in there.
Exactly.
So let's start adding stuff. You can just follow along. Padding top is 150, just a bit of space between the text I ended up putting there.
Yeah.
Text align is going to be centered. We're going to go, what do you reckon the font size should be? It's 90.
90,
Seems
yeah.
large enough.
Yeah, we'll see.
90 dp.
Yeah.
Again, all of this is documented, like all the possible properties that you can set. And the actual text is going to be, I'm going to say it's vacation time exclamation mark in here. And the reason it's yelling at me is I don't have the comma there. Much better.
Oh, okay.
And then,
it looks good.
thank you. And color, I reckon pink is definitely a vacation color.
Yeah, looks good.
That's our
And
screen.
it matched nicely with the background. Cool.
I like it.
Awesome. This is cool.
Fantastic. All right, so let's kind of save that. That can be our entire APL template. So all of this code here is what you call an APL document.
Yeah.
And there's two parts to an APL template. There's the document, which is how everything's laid out.
Yep.
And then there's a data JSON, which is actually called a data source in the code. And that is where your variables are going to be loaded from. You might be pulling from APIs, you might be messing around with the message in the code, and then that plugs into there.
Exactly.
That's the last thing I'll show about APL after we load it. I'll give you a little example of that, but it's a really useful way of plugging data into templates.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. And people can, if they're comfortable, people can play with the APL with this JSON and type things in, or use the tooling to just build the whole lot. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Awesome.
All right, so now we've got our,
Let's use it.
our template. The first thing I'm going to do is copy it and wholesale, and I'm actually going to start a new file in here. So new file in Lambda.
Yeah.
So it's going to live right next to our skill code
Okay.
file, which is index.js.
Yeah. Yeah.
Save it. I'm going to call it APL document.json.
Okay.
And then, so it's kind of ready to go. It's ready to be for index to load it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for that, I'm going to steal code, my own code, back here. Index. I'll actually steal that import function first.
Okay.
So how are we going to get index the skill code to launch the APL document or to load it? That's how. It's just a require. It's just another. It's like importing any other package, really.
Okay. So we need to add that line.
I need to add that line just so we have access to the document. So now it's called APL document as a variable. Next thing we're going to do is look for where that is. Okay. I'm going to steal this code out here.
Yep.
And then paste it where it's supposed to be and then explain it.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got our woohoo sound. It's vacation time.
Yep.
The part where we're getting excited. We also want to display a screen here. So I'm going to paste the screen function and fix the formatting slightly. That's good. Okay, we do have a problem. That's fine. I'll explain what this is first.
Yep.
if supports APL is a function that I'll put in a sec and show how it works.
Yep.
If we try and send a screen to a device that doesn't have a screen,
Yep.
like an Echo Dot
Yep.
or a regular Echo, like a speaker,
Yep.
it's going to crash.
Yep.
So we really need to have a function that determines if the device we're using
is capable of
is
showing
capable.
that.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's my little supports APL function that I actually stole off the forums, our developer forums. So
Okay.
you know it's good.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. What I'll do is actually grab that now so it stops yelling at me.
So let's see.
APL supports APL.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, took this function from an Amazon developer forum post. Okay, paste this down here. Supports APL.
Yep.
Okay. All that this does is analyze the input variables and
From the device
From
to
the
make
device.
sure if it has the APL or not.
yeah. So if you
has.
scroll up, the skill part of the skill IO is saying what it can do.
Yep.
So what's the viewport?
Yep.
What's the screen type
Yep.
that we support? What's the resolution of the screen we support?
Yep.
Well, because we've set it to Medium Hub,
Yep.
which is our older Echo show,
Show. Yep.
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 it's saying what resolution it can support. So you can actually split experiences depending on what screen device you're loading, not just whether
Exactly.
it's a screen device or not.
Exactly. And like the good thing is that in the test framework, it's there, like it's simulating it, so people again don't have to own the device to be able to test it. They can change the
That's
different
right.
devices. And like for the APL, we probably are not going to cover it today, but it's important when you have a image, make sure it fits nicely in different sizes and shapes.
Yeah.
So that's something that APL is capable of, and you need to factor that in.
We have a round device.
Yeah, yeah.
And you often, because it's round and small, the
Yeah.
Echo Spot, you want to display things differently.
Exactly.
Completely differently.
Completely
less information.
different. Yeah,
And so
exactly.
you can do that in APL.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll show you how that looks once we run the simulator as
Yeah.
well, actually.
Cool.
All right, so back to, we've got our support APL function.
Yep.
So if we support APL, then add a directive. A directive in Alexa is basically a component of a response.
Yep.
It's speech, or it's, in this case, a screen.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a command to do certain things like light up the text on a screen.
Yep.
There's lots of things a directive is. In this case, the type of the directive is an APL render document directive.
That's good.
There are two components to that. There is document, which is the thing that I actually downloaded. So it's APL document. And then there is data sources. And I actually haven't put anything in that
Yeah.
JSON
We are
data.
not providing
So
any
let's just
data.
make it empty.
Yep. Yep.
And that's all we need as part of the directive to send the screen.
Awesome. So we added the directive,
Mhm.
we know the document, and that's it.
That's it.
That's all we need.
There's one more step.
Okay.
Can you guess what it is?
To enable display.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so go to build.
Yeah.
So right now, we're checking if the skill can do APL.
Yep.
And right now, the skill actually doesn't say anything about APL. Just take my word for it that there's
Okay.
no mention of APL in
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Yep.
So if I go back to build, you can enable APL for your skill. Enable APL, you go to the build screen, you scroll down,
There is
Interfaces.
interfaces.
and there's all kinds of interfaces, audio, video, but the one you want is Alexa presentation language.
Exactly.
Cool.
Okay, so let's
Save,
and build it.
requires a build.
Yes.
Cool.
And can we go back to the Lambda function?
Yeah.
Is this APL underscore document? Oh, it doesn't need the JSON. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a variable because I imported it.
Yeah.
So if I go like, hopefully that works.
Yeah. Should work. Yeah. That's what we. Yeah.
Should work. Okay, save.
Cool.
Okay, so now we're building that, and we'll just have to wait a little bit.
Yeah. Cool.
Brains add a lot to skills, particularly
Yeah.
games
Exactly.
and things for kids.
Yeah.
My favorite one is karaoke mode,
Okay. Yeah.
which is, I can't remember the actual name of the
Skill.
mode. It's not called karaoke mode.
Yeah.
It's when it reads out text and highlights the text
Exactly.
as
As
it reads
it reads.
It's just it's just more engaging.
Yeah.
And you don't have to implement it yourself aside from just saying apply karaoke mode to this bit of text.
Yep.
All right, so back to test. let's try open vacation countdown and then see what we get. We're on the medium hub. Let's actually try and be on like a modern device, like the large hub.
Yeah.
That's the Echo
Why
Show.
not?
Let's do that before we.
Yeah. Test anything.
Okay, I think that's cool. So countdown.
Ooh, this is cool. Now we have,
Woohoo! It's vacation time.
Beautiful.
it's beautiful.
Now this screen is a bit small to show the whole thing.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, if I was to go in small hub, so the Echo Spot screen, let's see how it looks on that.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
Yeah. Like for this text and the type of
Woohoo!
image,
It's
it was okay.
vacation time.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. So the last thing I want to show you with APL, because it is important, is plugging in variables.
Yep.
And let's do that together. So maybe vacation time isn't the thing you want to display all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to randomize it.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is from your skill code
Yep.
again.
Yep.
Let's go back and create that.
Yep.
So let's go. I'm just going to create this and then explain how it's done. Message. I'm actually going to make this the random speech, and for this I will say it's sometimes going to be yay vacation, sometimes it's going to be holiday, and sometimes it's going to be woo travel.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so we're using our random speech function again to set the message.
This is cool.
Cool. Okay, so I think I've done the data sources part right. To say that there's a variable in here called data, and it's got a message. All right, cool.
Let's have a look at it in the APL document.
Let's actually
Play.
go
test
to the
it.
authoring tool. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you said, let's go to the authoring tool and confirm that. Let's not leave it up to chance. So let's plug this in. Okay, well, it's going to hate my skill code, so I'm just going to go yay vacation.
Yeah.
It's become obvious to me that I'm using the wrong quote marks.
Let's see if we...
Expected this instead of that. I've got the wrong thing. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
so I got that. Now, given our message here is hard-coded to be yay vacation, let's see if I can pull that out by going to text and then finding the text, which is vacation time.
Yeah.
And then the syntax for that is this. It should be data dot message, maybe? No, it's not found. Let's have a look at the one I prepared earlier, because I believe there's probably like a component in there I need to cover that I'm not. APL document. Payload.
Oh, it needs
Payload.
payload that. Yeah.
There is, yeah, parameters, payload, and
Yeah.
payload. Let's make sure I've got that. So APL document, payload. So in the main
Yeah.
template of the APL document, I'll show you this in the authoring tool actually. Oops. So in the authoring tool, under main template, there is a payload.
Yeah.
It's got a single parameter, which is the
Yeah.
payload. That's the data that actually goes in.
Yeah.
That's our way of knowing that everything we're referring to in data.json should start with payload.
Yeah. So if we add payload, it's yay.
Yeah, vacation.
Ooh.
Okay, let's see how we go.
Cool.
I think this is right. For that, I need to take this document out and resave it.
Yeah. Let's do that.
APL document.
Save it. And now is the time to...
And now, if I'm loading this into there, right?
Yeah.
Then we're laughing.
We'll
But,
see. We'll see.
But I'm not sure. So let's try it out. Open vacation countdown. See what kind of weird and wonderful error we get.
Oh, it worked.
It worked.
Awesome.
All right,
Aloha! It's vacation time.
This is cool.
let's do it again.
Yeah?
Because it's randomized now, it's
Yeah.
like kind of all over the place. Open vacation countdown. Yay, vacation.
Yay!
One
It's
more.
vacation.
Back to holiday.
Yay! It's vacation time.
This
There
is
you go.
cool. This is cool.
Right, so you
Yeah.
can see how you'd want
Yeah,
to do that,
yeah.
maybe even multiple times, or with your kids or the rest of your family or your friends, and just be like,
Exactly.
boom. It's not obviously the most exciting thing we've ever done, but
Yeah.
really for something we've built in
Yeah.
an hour and a bit,
Yeah. It's good enough. So I think it's pretty much it, right?
I think that's it. It was a recap.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we've set up a skill, we set up slots.
Yeah.
We did some stuff with the slots, like calculate how many days. So we've handled them.
Yeah.
SSML for exciting
Yeah. Yeah.
text, like you
Yeah.
said, and also APL screens,
Exactly.
and Dynamo. We
Yeah,
got
yeah.
persistence as well. So
Exactly.
a lot of territory to cover.
So that's pretty much what we wanted to cover today. Thank you, Steve,
We
for
did it.
joining.
You're welcome.
And it was a lot of
was
fun.
fun.
Enjoy skill building. Make sure you do the previous step. Make sure that you have always start with the design and then start building. And hope to see you in the next section when we teach you how to test and certify your skill. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much.